Well, what
Yep.
about audience? We got audience numbers. What about audience reception? What did Rotten Tomatoes and like Metacritic say about each one of these films?
For Big, Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score was 82, and the
That's
Rotten
good.
Tomatoes score was 97.
Oh,
Wow.
Solid.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, it's definitely a solid.
I don't think we've
It was a
ever
very
had a film
respectable.
that scored that high.
and,
Yeah,
and universally so well liked. No
Yeah.
way.
And then 13 going on 30, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes was 70, so still respectable.
Still good.
And the Rotten Tomatoes score was 65. So less, it was still, still in the tomato category, but not like big.
I'd say that's a fair score.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
for
scores
sure.
are definitely very fair for sure.
Well, what did Metacritic have to say about these?
Oh,
movies?
wait. Hold on a second. Before that, then we have to do the. I made a new Metacritic song. Ready? Here we
Oh,
go. Let me think. Listen up, folks. This is some really heavy hitter. That's it.
Is that a ghost? What was that say? What did it say?
Jim. His name is Jim. You didn't hear it? Hold on. Maybe I could turn it up. Hold on a second. Yeah, we'll cut this part. Did it not sound like anything?
Mm-mm.
oh, I can't hear it.
It's kind of muffly again. I don't know what the difference
I'll
is.
fix it later.
Oh,
Dadgummit.
let's fix
Why
it
don't I
in
play the old one?
post.
So good.
I wonder
You'll
how
have to
come
fix
one's
that in post as well.
Yeah,
But
we'll make those better in post.
dang it. One of these times we'll hear
One of
it.
these days it'll work.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yes.
Or
My favorite
actually,
part of
we'll
the
be
show.
cutting it together. We'll be like, whoa, that was awesome.
So good. Hilarious.
Amazing.
You are amazing.
Critic reviews. I grabbed a critic review, a real critic review for each one of these. I try to grab a positive and a negative. It's really hard finding a negative critic on Big. So basically they're mostly raw positive, but this was a good one. I like this one. This was from the United Press International. This is Kathy Burke. And she wrote, "What makes this all work, of course, is Hanks himself, who brings remarkable authenticity and simplicity to the role. He makes being a kid seem as wonderful as it was and as scary and confusing too." So I think she kind of brought what we talked about. It's like he brought all the elements together, and that's what made it so really believable. There was like the really fun part, and there's also confusing and scary parts too. So I like that.
Review.
I liked her review. But let's get to Metacritic, shall we? Metacritic. The Metacritic score was 73 for Big, and the user score was 8.6. So very solid numbers, of course, for Big. And this is Metacritic. I like this. Like I usually go for like the funny, cool names, but this I liked her. His Cameron Holmans. He says, or she says, it could be, I guess, either one. Give it an 8 and says, Big teaches us a very simple lesson. Cherish every part of your life. Live it in time. Hold on to your youth, because no matter how much you like to grow up, you can't look past all the things you learn and all the fun you have as a child. As an adult, keep the same youth in you. Live life with a carefree attitude. You'll win more people over if you always have the quality inside you. It works in both realms. The time you have as a child comes once. The time you have as an adult comes to those who wait. Great things happen in both stages of life.
So wait until you're out of junior high to have sex.
Yeah,
Only losers do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
that was very sweet.
That was a nice heartfelt one. And
yeah, someone like, was that from Ann Landers? My gosh, it was just like
very nice.
Very good.
philosophical.
I did find a negative Metacritic.
Wow.
I don't want this to throw you guys off, but
Possible.
Metacritic, this is from Steve 1981. And I'm going to paraphrase, because basically what he does, he talks about the movie, and then I'll start it and I'll let you guys know. He kind of goes on a rant, on a rampage of rage of like what the movie is. So I'm going to cut some of that stuff out.
The vitriol, yes.
Yeah. Big was made in 1988 and is a comedy romance fantasy type film starring Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Perkins, John Hurd, John Lovitz. Basically, Tom Hanks starts off as a school kid in Little League and hanging out with his school friend Billy. Then one night at a fairground, Accompanied by his parents, he wanders off a bit, then makes a wish on a Zoltar machine to become big. And then he kind of goes off and talks about the plot of the show, the plot of the movie, that we all know already. And then he says, whatever, but it's boring and it's not the slightest bit interesting. Tom Hanks gives an excellent performance, but the bore factor in the movie kills what life he brings to the film, and Big feels overlong and tedious. And at times, even though the romance and chemistry between Tom Hanks and Elizabeth Perkins is great, not a good film.
Wow.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
He was bored and uninterested. I honestly, I don't know. That was really one of the only negative things I could ever find on
Maybe
this.
he
said,
watched
"I
the
don't get it."
extended edition.
Yeah,
He must. I don't know. Whatever he watched, he was not very happy about it.
Those extra scenes ruined it for him.
It did.
Damn you,
And
Billy.
then my third Metacritic is from Albert Keane, Movie Guy. He gave it a 2. Also, not a huge fan, not as
Who are
biting
these
as
people?
Steve in 1981.
Yeah.
He says, "I don't know what the big quote unquote deal is."
Oh,
LOL. He puts
Oh,
that
boy.
in there.
+1.
People get caught up in the nostalgia of this movie. I don't think they actually watched it or what it is. A creepy woman, Elizabeth Perkins, preys on Tom Hanks for the whole movie to try to get ahead in her career. She
Oh my
succeeds.
God.
Tom Hanks will never be the same. I know people will be upset with this analysis, but I say no. It's open on one position, and that is one adult relationship being thrust into a 13-year-old boy. Gross.
Thrust. She didn't know what. That's ridiculous.
I don't think.
I think something might have happened to this person.
Yeah.
And
Something thrust into her or him.
and Josh gave her unknowingly, but gave her signals that would indicate that he was. So I don't think she did anything wrong.
No,
Well,
Even
of course
if,
not. That's crazy because she didn't know he was 13.
no.
Exactly.
But
Person.
but as always, and we'll go movie by movie. The Metacritic, one of these Metacritics is our own Steve Walter.
Dun dun dun.
So wait, so give us the
So which
choice
one
of,
do you
because we had
think-
you had the real critics. That person's not part of the game, right?
That person is not part of the game. No,
Okay, so give us the options again.
it was the person who taught us the big teaches us a very simple lesson: cherish every part of your life.
Is that Steve 81?
That is Cameron Hallman.
Cameron Hallman.
Steve 1981 was big. Big was a not very interesting, boring. Tom Hanks gives an excellent performance, but the bore factor kills it.
Okay.
And Albert Keane, Movie Guy, says he doesn't know what the big deal movie is. The big deal the movie is, LOL, and then thinks that Elizabeth Perkins is a child molester.
Wow, that's tough because would Steve go so bold as to use his own name to throw us off as a red herring?
Mm.
That's
I'm
my
thinking-
vote.
I'm thinking yes.
That both of your votes, Steve,
Yeah.
1981?
Yeah.
Steve was Albert Keane, Movie Guy.
Wow.
Steve, you got us.
You
Wow.
missed the palindrome again.
What was the palindrome?
Read that sentence that says one position something.
Uh,
Down towards the bottom.
It's open on one position.